Alright guys, so we got a bunch of updates on Iran that we're going to get to in this video, as it looks like yesterday we had yet another Taco Tuesday from Donald Trump where he blinked and essentially gave up on this Project Freedom plan to have the US military somehow forcefully escort commercial ships to break the blockade of the Strait of Hormuz by Iran, which was a completely deranged plan from the outset, and it was always going to be a failure because you're asking these ships, some of which are worth $100 million or so, they've got dozens of crew members on board, and you're asking them to risk everything on the chance that the US military may or may not be able to protect them as they break through this blockade that's now been going on for a few months now. So
Joel 3 and 10. Shalom. Bear with me while I get Joel. Shalom, shalom. Kol hola yah b'Hashem Yahushai. B'Hashem Luka Kodash. Double honor to the elder apostles and elder bishops, of great millstone, even the elders that came before them, and taught us truth. Shalom and salutations to all the brothers out pushing the word in truth and in sincerity, the hopeful light tabernacle. David, I'm the elder Yahshua. I'm back with the WW3 Daily update. This is Joel 3 and 10. Going into week saying that they're strong. All right, so now Iran controls the Straits of Hormuz, which has never been done before. So now, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Okay. Art thou become as weak as we? What was that? 1740. Okay. Let's watch a little bit more of this.
it was always going to be a failure from the start. But here we get this statement late yesterday from Trump himself. He says, based on the request of Pakistan and other countries, the tremendous military success that we have had during our campaign against the country of Iran, and additionally the fact that great progress has been made towards a complete and final agreement with representatives of Iran, we have mutually agreed that while the blockade will remain in force and effect, Project Freedom will be paused for a short period of time to see whether or not the agreement can be finalized or signed. So, again,
he got ran out of there. Quit. He turned around, he's retreating because he got that ass thwarted.
He's trying to portray this as though we're stopping Project Freedom because the Pakistanis requested it, or other countries that he doesn't name here requested it, or we've just had such a tremendous success that we're going easy on Iran and we're going to give room for these negotiations to take place. And by the way, I'll have more updates here on these potential maybe not negotiations that are going on behind the scenes. Seems like we should be a little bit more pessimistic than he is on whether or not there's actually going to be a deal reached in the immediate term. But he's putting out these feelers to try to justify why this operation is ending, when the reality is it was just a failure. Like, it just did not achieve what it set out to achieve. The goal, obviously, would be to break the Iranian blockade of the Strait of Hormuz and encourage dozens and dozens of ships per day to transit, right? So that you could calm the oil markets or whatever else the global economy in this moment. Now, just for a perspective in terms of how well this went, we had this from the Hormuz letter. They say the cargo ship that was attacked by Iran in the Strait of Hormuz yesterday was identified as the French-owned CMA CGM San Antonio, attempting the U.S.-backed crossing and designated route by Trump with AIS transponders switched off. The UK MTO hid the location to avoid admitting that the route isn't safe. So,
bullying didn't work. They tried to bogart their way and debo their way through the strait and got turned around.
One of the ships that tried to make this transit as guided by the U.S. military was apparently struck by Iran. So again, the mission just failed, and hours later, Trump canceled Project Freedom. I mean, literally,
it failed because they got fired upon and got ran the fuck up out of the strait. Not that it failed. It failed because they were thwarted by Iran. Iran bested them, ran them out of there. You won't be crossing the strait. We didn't give you permission.
4 hours later. Now, we also had Jesse Waters, this clip is absolutely amazing, over on Fox News, trying to conjure up some reality in which this is actually like a 5-dimensional chess move from Donald Trump. Let's go ahead and watch some of this.
We suspect the president is letting the Iranians save face. The enemy just yesterday said they controlled the strait. That was obviously a lie. And watching the Americans escort ship after ship out of the Gulf and them not being able to do anything about that was going to be humiliating. Not only were they going to lose whatever military prestige they had left in the region, their negotiators weren't going to be able to fight for their position after they lost their last bargaining chip.
Who the fuck is he talking about? I'm confused here. You trying to flip the whole thing upside down?
The commander-in-chief must believe that the Iranians are serious about surrendering if he's going to pause Project Freedom for the sake of a deal. Because you could also continue Project Freedom during the negotiations. You know,
this professional 32
hopium. Let's hope copium. Opium, whatever they call that shit.
You know, you do want to get these foreign ships moving. The president must know what he's doing. And we're about to find out how insane in the brain the regime really is.
So he must know what he's doing. And in the mind of Jesse Waters here, what Trump is doing is, first of all, he says that Project Freedom was a wild success and all of these ships were transiting with no issue at all. He's just completely making that up. That literally did not happen. I mean, maybe there were a handful, like a literal handful of ships that managed to get through during the last couple of days here around the Iranian blockade, but the idea that it was some wild success, it's just detached from reality. But his idea here that he's conjured up in his mind, that only a guy like Jesse Waters possibly could, is that Trump is canceling Project Freedom because the negotiations are going well, and he wants the Iranians to be able to save face so that the Iranians don't look bad going into the negotiations and they don't lose their only leverage in the negotiations. What? Why would Trump, if he had the ability to do so, to take away Iran's main card, the Trump card that they have in this equation, the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, if he was able to take that away and open up the strait, why the fuck wouldn't he do that? Of course he would do that. This is not some five-dimensional chess move that he's making here to allow the Iranians to have space to surrender while saving face. I mean, it's completely insane, but...
Gotta get this real quick. Confused rulers. Jesse Waters, whatever he's doing. Come on now. He's a ruler. He's speaking on their behalf. Right? We're small G's. We speak on behalf of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. So figure it out. Let's see what's going on here. Might not be able to do this. Old Satan here got me on lock. What the hell is this? Well, this is not good. Is that it's an internet thing, it looks like. Look at that. I'm getting low balance. That's crazy. Anyway, yeah. I guess I'll go ahead and try to keep what I have here. Let's see. Yeah, that's a shame. Maybe they shut that down too, because that's the apocryphal part. So let's just get it right here. I wanted to get let me get it in the second has 9 GMT. Go around. Nope, they didn't give it to me, did it? So log in. GMT version. Number 3. 2nd Ezra's 9 and 3 in the GMT. There will be earthquakes, national rebellions, international intrigues, unstable leaders, and confused rulers. That's what we see here with Jesse. For him to suspend reality and do backflips and say 5D chess. 5D chess should be about a joke right now. Ain't no such fucking thing It's 5D chess, and this dude is a clown. And anybody still saying that is an obvious clown. Did I finish that? Second Ezra's 9:3. In the GNT, there will be earthquakes, national rebellions, international intrigues, unstable leaders, and confused rulers. When you see these things happening, you will know that they are what God Most High has spoken about since the beginning of creation. So we'll go ahead and.
That's what they're talking about on Fox News, apparently. Now, we also have another post here, just from this morning from Trump. He says, assuming that Iran agrees to give what has been agreed to, unclear exactly what he means by that, which is perhaps a big assumption, the already legendary epic fury will be at an end, and the highly effective blockade will allow the Hormuz Strait to be open.
This is all confusion. They are over there. They attacked, okay, and got thwarted, got rebutted. Get the fuck up out of here. All right, you want a war, we'll war. And now America's backing the fuck up. They can't figure out what to do.
To all. I mean, this is incomprehensible here, including Iran. If they don't agree, the bombing starts, and it will be sadly at a much higher level and intensity than it was before. So, I mean, can you guys make sense of like what he's actually saying here? Assuming that Iran agrees to what has been agreed to, but what has been agreed to, we don't know. And he says this is a big assumption, but then epic fury will be at an end if they agree to whatever's been agreed to.
This is classic confused. He's confused himself. Nobody knows what's going on because he's lying about the whole thing. It's all in his head.
The highly effective blockade will somehow allow the Hormuz Strait to be open to all, including Iran. So the blockade is going to open the strait. Iran's going to agree to what has been agreed to. Epic fury is at its end, but also maybe not, because if they don't agree to what's been agreed to, then we're going to bomb them more intensely than we ever have before. Which, by the way, I talked about this yesterday. You can't do that. You do not have escalation dominance here. Iran could respond to any U.S. or Israeli attacks on them by doing a number of different things. They could close...
Except for the use of a nuclear weapon. All right, that's the elephant.
On the Red Sea, via the Houthis, they could bomb the shit out of all of the oil and gas infrastructure in these Gulf countries and take them offline for potentially years into the future. They could cut the internet cables that run along the bottom of the sea. You know, numerous different things that they could do. They could smash Israel. Like, the idea that you have escalation dominance here is detached from reality. It's just not the case. Now, in the meantime, we also have this update here from Dropsite News. They say that Israel just attacked Beirut in coordination with Washington. So apparently with approval from the Trump administration. This would be, I believe, the first major bombing attack inside of Beirut since this alleged ceasefire took place with Lebanon, which, by the way...
So what do we have here? Let's get this real quick. We have the small hats doing what? Their job of antagonizing. Right? Doing what they do best. This is Jerry. 4920. Jeremiah 49:20. Therefore, hear the counsel of the Lord that he hath taken against Edom and his purposes that he had purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out, surely shall make their habitation desolate with them. So here we have, in the midst of all of this, what's going on during the ceasefire in the Strait of Hormuz. You got the small hats over here doing what they do best, starting shit and drawing out, keeping this World War III thing going.
Hasn't been a ceasefire throughout the entire duration of it. Israel has been continuously bombing inside of Lebanon, continuously murdering inside of Lebanon, and continuously destroying civilian property.
Continuously drawing them out. Right? Getting this World War III pop. There wouldn't be no problem in the Middle East if the small heads hadn't bombed Iran twice.
Of Lebanon, but they say here that Israel apparently, allegedly, we don't know this to be the case, but assassinated Malek Balut, described in Israeli media as commander of Hezbollah's Radwan force in a strike on the Dahia suburb of Beirut on Wednesday evening. The attack and target was confirmed by wanted fugitive war criminal Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Defense Minister Katz, and a source reportedly close to Hezbollah who told the AFP that the killing was confirmed. So
we'll go ahead and end it right there. More of the same. They got ran out of Hormuz, so they're reconfiguring their next plot to see where they can insert some troops. That's where this thing's going. They're going to figure out where to insert some troops. So, we're going to end it right there with that. We pray that the elect ratified your brother and a few sisters. Shalom.